Alrighty, we are here with Conception in his wonderful Harry Potter cosplay, and he is going to be playing Harry Potter in the Chamber of Secrets for us. Mr. Conception, whenever you are ready.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. As mentioned, I am Conception 2. Let me just briefly show you what you paid for, which was this wonderful Harry Potter cosplay. We, of course, got the robe here with the little Hogwarts patch, if you can see it. I have Harry's wand here, and then we have the vest and the Gryffindor tie to complete. And thank you so much for everyone who donated towards that. It's always good to be able to sweat a little bit for charity, as this costume is very hot. So thank you so much. And let's get started with some Chamber of Secrets action here. So time will start in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So this Chamber of Secrets, it's probably a little bit different than what you might be used to. This is the Game Boy Color version, so naturally it's going to be a little bit different. This is actually a turn-based RPG, so that's why I really like playing it. I'm a sucker for some turn-based RPGs. It's kind of in the vein of Final Fantasy and Pokemon combined, so you'll get to see what I mean by that in just a little bit here. But first off, of course, we start off in Harry's bedroom. We have to grab a few things and escape quickly. Gonna grab our suitcase, our owl, and then we do have to pick a very specific deck here, which is the Morgan Le Fay deck, because it has a very important card combo, which we'll use in a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean not until the end of the run, but it'll be important when we do use it. Alright, so we're heading off to Ron's house, which is called the Burrow. We actually have a skip right at the beginning of the game here that saves roughly probably like 15 seconds if we get it, so let's see if we can do it. And it's just based on pixel location on the overworld map here. So once I start moving, I want to be over a little bit. There we go. And basically that, I walked exactly around a text box trigger so that I would not trigger a conversation with Ron and his family, saving, yeah, like I said, about 15 seconds of dialogue. All right, so we're gonna grab a couple items for safety here. First is that pepper up potion, and then we're gonna head immediately up to Ron's bedroom just to progress the story. Not really anything interesting gameplay wise here. Just have to get through it. But it gives me the opportunity to talk a little bit about this game as a whole. So this is, like I mentioned, a turn-based RPG. It's also a little bit goofy. It's got some fun mini games that are not exactly in the books, but are a good time. And we're gonna get to see some of these mini games right away. We actually start the game off with 2 mini games pretty much right off the bat. So we're gonna head back downstairs here. You might have saw that little blue cloud spawn, which is actually our encounters. So we're going to hopefully not hit any of them, which we didn't, which is good. And then Ron's mother, Mrs. Weasley, is going to tell us about us having to denome the garden. So we actually get 2 mini games involved around denoming the garden. The first one is a competition with Ron to see how many gnomes that you can pluck. The outcome of the minigame does not matter, so you don't have to win the game in order to progress the story. So I actually choose not to move here at all. And that is because it could potentially save any lag frames that would come from moving. So I just kind of let Ron, tucker himself out by pulling some gnomes out of the ground here. He usually hovers somewhere between 8 to 12. I've never seen him go above 12. I've never seen him go lower than 8. 10 is the most common. But we get 9. Perfect. The second minigame, unfortunately, we can't skip. So now that the gnomes are plucked from the ground, we have to do this minigame where we throw the gnomes, supposed to be as far away as we can, but we're actually going to try and throw it as fast as we can into that fence, because that is the fastest throw we can do. And we're gonna hope Ron does the same, but we don't have any control over Ron, so it's hard to say. But yeah, it's a little cruel, unfortunately, because we're just kind of slamming them into the fence, but we gotta go fast. Of course, Ron tipped the top of the fence there, and we get a nice long throw. Just eats up some time. But we can't control it, so. There is actually a 5 pixel wide window in between like the posts of the fence, where if you throw it exactly there with enough speed, you'll actually clip through the fence, which is obviously very slow. Oh, wow, I got it. Of course. Wonderful. I had to show it off in the marathon. Yeah, so I got that 5-pixel wide window, and I threw a gnome through the fence. Interesting. But, alright, so now we're going to start pretty soon here getting into the meat and potatoes of the run. So we're going to be trying to go to Diagon Alley. Harry gets nervous in his first use of flu powder here, which teleports you from fireplace to fireplace. And he ends up in a place called Nocturne Alley, which is not as good. We get a little cutscene here. We are going to grab one important item, and we're hopefully going to get another cutscene skip here as well. Not in this cutscene, but there's a small cutscene with Hagrid that occurs after this. This one is a lot shorter. If we get the cutscene skip, probably saves like 5 seconds maybe. Alright, so first we're going to exit. Then we're actually going to go in the store adjacent here, and we're going to grab this hidden revive potion. And we got the skip. So what we did there, we actually performed a glitch, which is called the select glitch. It's actually pretty recently discovered tech. If you press select on the exact pixel that you would be transitioning from one spot to another, as in going through a doorway, it will make it so that the game is in a weird state that you cannot talk to any NPCs, or you can walk directly through any triggers of cutscenes. So that is why I could walk. There was meant to be a cutscene before I entered the area of Diagon Alley where I was supposed to talk to Hagrid, but because I set the game into that select glitch state, I didn't have to do it. If I had failed the select glitch, which is obviously very hard to do, very hard to achieve because it's so pixel perfect, there is a backup where I could have paused exactly on the pixel that the cutscene was meant to start. And if I had paused and unpaused, then I would have skipped the cutscene that way as well. So I had a backup. But now we are in Gringotts. We need to get some money, of course, to buy our school supplies. But we are going to grab some items while we're down here. The antidote, which will be very important for our final boss later. And we're actually just going to grab a Grand Wiggenweld potion, which we hope we can save for the final boss, but we might have to use it for something else if things go awry. But yeah, we're dodging these encounters, and we're actually going to have our first boss fight of the game here. We're actually going to save just in case things get a little weird. It's decently safe with the marathon route, but you never know. So I was hoping that he would hit Ron first, because Ron can actually tank one hit of the what we call the footman here. Harry cannot. Harry has less HP. But we're actually continuously performing a glitch here called the enemy attack skip glitch, which is if you have a solo enemy like this and you press A on a specific frame, it will skip by the enemy's turn and go immediately back to your turn, which is an interesting thing. So that is how we are able to survive this fight a little easier. And if you miss it, it happens like that. The game kind of just doesn't know what to do, and then it just goes back to its previous state, which is fine. Because then we can just try it again. Not a big deal. But we actually got really lucky. We hit 2 crits in those first 2 attacks, but then we missed. We got a miss, so kind of balanced itself out a little bit. All right, so we're gonna play a little safe just for marathon strats, and we're gonna heal his magic up again, because I think one more hit from Ron, and then we can do the last hit on Harry, and then the footman will be bye-bye. Ooh, we low rolled. So if he hits Harry here, we actually have to reset. That's unfortunate. So we have to reset. That's okay. Should have just played it ultra safe and done a couple of hits with Ron, but that's alright. That's exactly why I saved there, in case we get some shenanigans going on. So yeah, since we're going to be doing the same exact fight basically again, if there's any, plugs for donation incentives or anything like that, or any donations to be read, that was a great time for it. Ooh, got another crit there, which is very lucky. Crits are not super... Oh my goodness, we got another crit. That is very interesting. I wonder if we're gonna get a miss here. Maybe it's like a set RNGC? That is fascinating. I'm kind of discovering some new stuff as we speak here. It is very unusual to have gotten the exact same circumstances both times. 2 crits and a miss. That seems unlikely to be a coincidence to me, so... That is interesting. Maybe we're discovering some stuff on the fly here. Oh wait, no, we want to flee here, so we can do the glitch. Heal up his MP and then flee again. Oh yeah, if it wasn't made clear, the glitch is activated by the last person in your party who's, who has the lowest speed fleeing. So you have to make sure, if we're gonna use the glitch, Harry has to flee in order for it to work, basically. But there we go. Now we're good. If the reason why it matters if Harry is alive, because you might be wondering, well, Harry died, sure, but the boss was 1 hit away from dying, so you could have just finished it with Ron. The reason why Harry has to stay alive is because if you have an enemy fall, if you have an ally fall in battle, like Harry did there, you actually don't get experience from the fight. Only people who are standing get experience, and Harry absolutely needs that experience to get by the beginning parts of the game here, so we could not afford to lose it. If Ron had fallen there, which would have been very unlikely because, like I said, he could have tanked 1 hit, unless he got like a critical hit or something, of course. Then we would have had a bigger problem, but otherwise not a big deal. And Ron, his experience is not as important because we don't need him for very specific abilities or anything like that. Alright, got a little unlucky on the way out there because we got stopped by an encounter that would not let us run away, unfortunately, but we only walked away with 5 damage to Ron, which is not the end of the world. But we are now finally out of Gringotts, ready to go. Oops. We're going to grab a very important card combo there. Now, this is the second time I mentioned card combos, and what that means is we have Witches and Wizards cards that we can collect in the overworld. And if you have 3 of a specific, 3 specific cards, and you have the card combo to go with it, you can use that combo in battle for specific effects. For example, we start off by default with our card combos as having one that's called Healing Balm, which will make it so once activated during any particular fight, you will gain health every turn. And it'll also counteract any like poisons and stuff that you have as well. So since we have all 3 cards by default as well as that card combo by default, we can actually use it at any time. We're obviously going to try and save it for the end game stuff, so hopefully we're able to do that. But yeah. Card combos are only used by Harry as well. Obviously you see that we get control of Ron, and you can infer that we will get control of Hermione as well later on. But each of them have their own special abilities as well. Ron has abilities based around his rat scabbers, where he can like throw the rat or like send the rat scurrying and stuff. We only use his special ability once. And I actually couldn't even tell you what Hermione's special ability is because we never use it, so I'm not entirely sure what it is. But here we are, we cannot get through the platform. We have to walk, and we're going to end up taking the flying car over to Hogwarts here. And this is going to lead us into a very long mini-game that is an auto-scroller that it does not matter if we play or not because the score doesn't matter. And the minigame is about 2 minutes, so if we have anything at all in terms of plugs or donations or anything like that to be read, now is a great time because we are just going to kind of sit here for 2 minutes until this ends. So. or I assume there's not anything right now, which is perfectly fine. Continue to get those donations in for St. Jude as well. Just a wonderful organization. You guys, everyone did so wonderful in donating to get my cosplay incentive met. Again, thank you so much for everyone who did that. And it seems like, you know, it's going super well in terms of the funds being raised, and SpeedDocs is doing a wonderful job in getting the money that we need for St. Jude. So continue to donate and meet the incentives that we still have left, of course, and any bid wars. Get your money in towards those. They're very important. But yeah, so this is, like I'd mentioned, it's an auto-scrolling minigame where we're flying the car and we're basically chasing the train. The train cannot get away from us because it cannot go off-screen. And it does not matter if we just hover at the bottom or not move at all, basically. If we hit these cloud rings or coins, it increases our score as well as our speed. So you can see, like, when I'm just coincidentally hitting a ring, the car's placement moved up the screen a little bit. But yeah, there's nothing to really note because it doesn't matter what your score or placement is, so. Alright, and now that we see the platform here, that means it is just about over. Very good. Alright, so now we crash land into the Whomping Willow, and we're actually going to have to fight the Whomping Willow as kind of a boss here. We're not going to save before it, because even if we die in this fight, it just spawns us right at the top, so we just have to walk down again. It's not that big of a deal. But one new mechanic into this game is introduced. So if you're familiar with the story, you know that when crashing into the Whomping Willow, Ron breaks his wand. Which is quite unfortunate because we have to deal with that in this game as well. And occasionally when Ron casts a spell, it'll say Ron's wand backfired, and the damage will go to Ron instead of Harry. I mean, Ron instead of the enemy, I should say. So if that happens, especially in this fight, it just wastes a lot of time. So we're hopeful that we don't see it. Luckily, we got a good Harry crit there, but if he hits Harry again, the Willow, we're gonna die because again, Harry needs that experience. But hopefully we can take it out before that happens. Very good. That was an excellent Willow fight, actually.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Please.
Alright, sorry about that. We had some unexpected death in the hosting booth, but we have a $5 donation from Young Thun Fish. It says, "Go Conception, good luck on your run."
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Alright, yeah, so again, that actually, so I have my splits up here as well, and I'm comparing against my personal best, and that was actually a gold split for the Whomping Willow fight, so, yeah, excellent. Unfortunately, because that Footman fight went so south, we're not really in any position to be, like, on PB pace or anything, but we take gold splits wherever we can get them, so. Alright. So we are now in the castle. We're going to pit stop over here and grab another Wig and Well Grand Potion. Again, hopeful that we could save it towards the end game, but if we have to use it when things go a little bit south, we will. And then we just have to make our way up to Gryffindor Tower. Now in this game, there's a lot of shortcuts that are between floors. However, on this first arrival, all shortcuts are locked, so you just have to, take it the slow way and walk all the way up the stairs. And of course, the Gryffindor Tower is on the top floor, so we have to go from the bottom all the way to the top. Unfortunate, but we won't have to do it like that anymore, so. It kind of gives me a chance to talk about, so these Harry Potter games, I run Harry Potter 1 for Game Boy Color, Harry Potter 2 for Game Boy Color, and Harry Potter 3 for Game Boy Advance, which are the two RPGs. Sorry, 3 RPGs of the series. And they can all be a bit broken in terms of mechanics in different ways. There's a lot of glitches that you can perform in order to save time and skipping cutscenes and fights and things of that nature. But however, when Kryptonite Games, who is the developer of these games, they did a rock solid job in terms of story flags. So that no matter what, no matter how many glitches we find or skips we find, we still have to hit the story flags in order for things to progress. So we cannot like break the game in terms of like making an ace route or something like that. So shoutouts to them for making a solid storyline that we have to follow. But you might have seen there, I did a pit stop over in the little shop there, which is run by Fred and George. I bought a few things. I bought some potions, which will just make the next coming fights a little bit easier. But we also bought 2 equipable items. So this game does have like an equipment system that will improve your stats. And we basically just buy 2 very base pieces of equipment to increase our attack and defense. And we will actually keep those on the whole rest of the run. So it actually increases our speed a little bit as well. But Harry is still slower than like Ron for most of the run, for example. Alright, so we finally make our way out here, and classic to any good Harry Potter game, of course, is we have to go through some classes, right? Gotta see what your schedule's like. So first class we're gonna do here is Herbology, which if you're familiar with the Chamber of Secrets lore, we got to deal with some mandrakes. And this particular part of the run is not dangerous in terms of you might die. And there's a non-0% chance that you'll die, sure. But it can just be very slow if you get trolled by these mandrakes quite a bit. So hopefully we don't get trolled by them. But basically 3 of them escape. We have to go into the back part of the greenhouse here. And then we just have to go fight each one of them individually in order to get them back in service. That is really unfortunate that I hit an encounter here. Getting very, very unlucky with encounters and not being able to run away from them fast enough. Especially that, because now I'm going into this fight a little weak already, so I will almost certainly have to heal, which I was trying to avoid. But we'll see what the Mandrake gives us here. Takes about 5 hits. We want to see at least 1 0 usually, but now I kind of want to see 2 zeros because we are in a precarious situation. But we're probably, if we get hit here, we're gonna have to heal. Oh, we did not get hit. Okay. So we actually could be good here. Oh, never mind. We got a 0, so we have to get another 0. Nope, we have to heal. Unfortunate, but that's how it happens sometimes. So we're already getting trolled by the greenhouse, which is honestly classic Harry Potter 2 here. The greenhouse is just such a volatile spot.
Did CJ take care of this donation that came in?
From Young Toonfish? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a good friend of mine. Thank you so much for that donation again. Alright, so I think we're good with just the one Wiggenweld potion here. I am going to save just to be safe, but I think we're good with just the one. Let me see where my health is at. Yeah, we're fine. So we still have to get a little bit lucky here and hope we get at least 1 miss from the Mandrake. Like any good RPG, if we level up, we get our health and magic replenished. So after this Mandrake, we'll level up, which is good. But after the first Mandrake, we don't, which is why we have to use some potions and stuff to heal. If our health was super low, I would have had to use both Wiggenweld potions that I had bought on Harry here. But because I had already got hit so much and I had to use a Grand Wiggenweld potion, it wasn't a big deal to only use 1 regular. Luckily, we didn't have to heal at all during that fight, so that was lucky. Alright, so now we leveled up, we're already fully healed, and we have more health and magic than before. We have this little boss fight here that is separate from the Mandrakes, which is a ruby red fire crab. I know it looks like a turtle, but it is a crab. And you can see how it chooses to attack us, which is always humorous. Alright, so if things go well, we can 4-shot this turtle. We have to do 80 damage. We do an average of 20, but we can do between 19 and 21 damage. So if we had gotten a bunch of 19s, that would have been unfortunate. But luckily we got 20, then 21, then 21. So as long as this hit actually does damage, then we will 4-shot it. Perfect. That's ideal. And the Ruby Red Crab does enough experience that we level up again, actually. And now we just have to fight the third Mandrake. This Mandrake is not dangerous in terms of potentially killing us at all, unless we get lots of misses. We actually want to be in like a certain health threshold to potentially set up a nice little, I guess you could call it a trick. It's more just an exploit. We want to just kind of set up our HP so that we can die a little bit faster later on for a part that's faster to die at than it is to actually progress. We'll see if we can get hit one more time here. We'll be in decent shape to get it, but we'll see. Of course he misses, but that's fine. So we're probably not going to get it unless things... Oh, well, we missed, so let's see. Okay, so we're in decent shape. Alright, so that was a really slow greenhouse, unfortunately. We got really trolled by quite a few things, but we made it out alive, and that is what matters, so... So you get to show that off as well. So if we can see an encounter is coming, we can actually get really close to the encounter without touching it and pause specifically right next to it, because the game cannot handle that you pause the game and also have an encounter basically on you. So the game will despawn the encounter. So that is how we will try to evade a lot of our encounters if they get close to us. Unfortunately, we can still get like what I call sniped by them, which means that they will just spawn immediately right in front of us. We don't have enough time to react. So that is what happened when I first got into the greenhouse, as well as in Gringotts. So been sniped twice, unfortunately, but we made it work. So our next class is actually going to be Defense Against the Dark Arts with Professor Lockhart, but we're actually going to stop in the hospital wing here and initiate a side quest, which we will not finish until almost the end of the game, but it's going to be important in terms of the reward that it gives us. So we'll touch upon that a little bit. Basically, what that side quest entails is that Katie, who is stuck in the hospital wing because she's sick, requests a storybook that she left on the table in the Gryffindor Tower so that she can read it and feel better and stuff like that. And our quest is to retrieve the book and give it to her, basically. But we're not going to progress that quest for quite some time. So Defense Against the Dark Arts is here, and we have another little mini game where we're meant to be kind of petrifying these pixies. I again choose not to move here. You can, if you're playing this game, even in a speedrun, you can just perform the mini game if you'd like to. But there is like a tiny chance that you get some lag frames, which just, you know, make it a little bit slower. So I just choose not to move. Plus, it gives your hands a little input break. So who doesn't love to see that? Lets you hold your wand and practice your swish and flick and all that. Alright, and it is done. It's very interesting to me that we have all these mini games in here that it does not matter what you do to them, you just have to let them progress. It's very interesting to me. Unless, of course, there is a direct trigger that ends the mini game. Which, like, for example, in the gnome throwing one, we each have to take 5 turns in order for the minigame to end. It's not on a timer, it's on a turn set, so we still have to, you know, do that minigame. Obviously, here are our first instances of using shortcuts. So we were on floor 4 there, and I took a shortcut to floor 1. And now we're actually heading outside because McGonagall told us we gotta get ready for some Quidditch. That's right, this game has Quidditch, so get excited for that. Alright, so we're heading to the Quidditch pitch here, and yes, we are in fact going to play Quidditch quite a few times in this game. And it's the same every time. You'd think, oh hey, we play Quidditch a few times, we'll play a different team every time, right? Wrong. We play Slytherin every time for whatever reason.
Fun.
Yeah, we love to see that. But basically, all we got to do is fly over and grab the switch with the B button. So it's not particularly hard. It can be tough if you get knocked around by the bludgers, because the bludgers really throw you back. And that'll become more relevant in a specific Quidditch match later on. But you can get a little bit trolled by that. or if you accidentally just fly by it like I did a second ago there. But yeah, that's all you got to do for Quidditch, is get the Snitch as fast as possible, which is exactly the rules of Quidditch anyway, so. We get that classic movie moment where Ron casts a slug spell on himself by accident because his wand is broken. So now he's barfing up slugs, and we got to do something about that. We're going to head over to Hagrid's. Alright, and Hagrid is going to tell us what we got to do to get this cure for Ron, which is Yep. Which is basically we have to go into his garden and get 5 different ingredients in order for him to whip up some kind of, cure-all thing, I guess.
It's fine. Just it's Ron. He'll be fine.
Yeah, Ron is fine. We don't have to focus on it too much. He's gonna be all right. He's just barfing up slugs. But now we have Hermione on our team, and we're just gonna roll Harry and Hermione here, and then we're gonna enter his side little garden here, and it's kind of like a little garden maze. Pretty easy to navigate though, and any of the ingredients are going to be in little holes in the grass here, so we're just going to be stopping there. And then, so we got 1, we're going to head over here. Luckily the ingredients are always in the same spot. 2. And now we have 3. Now the 4th ingredient unfortunately comes from a boss fight that's in this area. So we do have a boss fight here with the venomous tentacula. I am going to save just in case things get a little weird. But it should be fine. That's actually ideal. That's what we wanted to see. And then we're going to perform that enemy attack skip glitch again. So Hermione will cast a spell to damage it. Ooh, unfortunate. That we got a miss there, and then Harry will actually... No, not yet. Harry's gonna flee still. Hermione's gonna use the potion on herself because she doesn't have enough MP. Now, Hermione's gonna cast the spell here, and then we're actually going to cast with Harry as well, so we're not gonna enemy attack skip here, in hopes that the Tentacula will hit Harry instead. Not exactly what we wanted to see. I didn't need to flee there. I could have just killed. Doesn't really matter at this point. We actually would have liked if Harry had went down here. Harry doesn't necessarily need this XP, and if he had went down for the next fight that he enters, he will be at 1 HP. So that would have made it so when we take an intentional death later on, it would have gone really fast. We didn't get lucky enough there to get it, and I could have grinded to keep going to make sure that Harry goes down, but I chose not to because at that point it's starting to get a little slow. So we just finished out the Tentacula, get the last ingredient on our way out, and there we are. And
did your walking animation just die?
Yes, so a fun thing in these first 2 GBC games, if you interact with an object or pick up an item while you're mid-motion, for whatever reason, Harry's legs don't animate anymore, so you kind of just glide across the ground like it's ice. That happens a lot more in the first one, but we do get to see it here a few times. We don't pick up nearly as many items in this game as we do in the first one, but yeah, we call it Swag Harry. Because you don't have to do it, but why wouldn't you? Alright, so we take care of Ron's illness here. We kind of glossed over the fact that we flew a car to school, which and crashed into an ancient tree on the campus, and they're not really happy about that. So we do have detention. Our detention is with Professor Lockhart over here, where we have to help him sign autographs or whatever. Kind of questionable to say the least, but we're gonna do it. Because again, we cannot skip story flags, so... And I know what you're thinking, right? We're gonna have a signature minigame. We're not going to. That would be funny though, if we had a minigame where we had to use the D-pad to like help replicate Lockhart's signature or something, but no, we don't have that. Just kind of fade to black here. Alright. So now we can just leave. We do have a skip coming up here. It's got very similar to that first skip we did where we skipped a cutscene with Hagrid and Diagon Alley. We have 2 options to trigger it here. We have to get through the shortcut first. We can either use the select glitch on the stairs before a cutscene coming up here, or if we don't do it, we can just walk on a specific pixel. Alright, we didn't get the select glitch, so we gotta make sure we walk on a specific pixel. And we got it. There's actually a lengthy cutscene there with Nearly Headless Nick, the Gryffindor house ghost, that he kind of goes on and on about his Death Day party, which is tonight, which we are going to go to, but now we never technically were invited to it, but Harry still knows about it, because again, you cannot skip the story flags. You can skip the cutscenes, but the story flags themselves are planted. Now we got Quidditch 2. Ooh, almost was able to snag that real quick, which would have been nice, but... Okay, Bludger, thank you. And that is what I meant by trolled by the Bludgers. They can just hover around the snitch and then can't really get close, but... You know, no harm, no foul. Alright, another skip here. We have to get a select glitch, which we got first try, of course. Let's go. But we did have 4 chances to get it. So on that transition point, this one, and then there's the 3rd one here, and then entering the castle. So we had 4 opportunities to activate the select glitch. Again, that's a pixel perfect trick. Not frame perfect, but pixel perfect. And if we were activated it, there's a little dialogue sequence here with Ron and Hermione that we can just walk right through them and skip. So there we go. Oh, hidden encounter again. I'm getting really unfortunate luck with being sniped here. Luckily, they didn't attack me. We outsped them, which was nice, but still. Yeah, getting real unfortunate luck. Alright, so we're at Nick's Death Day party. Don't know how else to phrase it. Things are gonna go a little weird here. We're gonna play a mini game that, of course, if you read the books, you're gonna remember it right away. I won't spoil it until you see it, but yeah, basically this is the anniversary of the day that Nearly Headless Nick died, and he's trying to get into an organization called the Headless Hunt, who keeps giving him the runaround because he's not technically headless. His head is still attached by a thread, but we're trying to impress the ghosts in order to make it so Nearly Headless Nick seems really important and cool. And how else do you impress ghosts besides, of course, bowling? And not only bowling with skulls and bones.
Bowling with their heads.
Yep, bowling with our heads. Shout out in donations or in the chat if this was your favorite part of the Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, because I know it was mine. That little break where Harry just decides to bowl for a while. And of course, we can't skip this because it's not on a timer. We have to finish the game in order for it to progress. So we are actually trying to do well on this and hit strikes if we can. It's very difficult, but if we get like a strike or 2, that'd be cool. Because of course, a strike will make it so the frame advances with 1 shot as opposed to 2. So it's a little bit faster if we get some strikes here. Not getting particularly lucky yet. That could be a good one. No, never mind. I thought that was a good one, but did not take out as many as I would have liked. That could be... Nope, never mind. Come on, get 1 strike for the people, for the fans. Let's go. Yeah, we got 1. All right. Of course, we got like the slowest animation for it, but we still got 1. I guess that's something.
Close enough.
Ugh, man, we almost got another one. Now we are on the, well, after this, we're going to be on the 10th frame. And the 10th frame we actually is the only frame we don't want to get strikes on, because if we got a strike on it, it would actually make it so, you know, with bowling rules, that we'd have 3 shots on the 10th frame, which we don't want, because that wastes time. So we want to make sure we don't strike or spare on that one. Alright, so coming up here, we actually have a very difficult skip. So I'm going to focus on it, and then I'll explain it in a little bit. But I'm going to save because I can soft lock here. I didn't even get it anyway. Okay, so we do have a backup here if I select glitch on the doorway. So this skip, if we had got it, is called Voices Skip. Harry right now is hearing voices through the wall, so that's why it's called Voices Skip. We got the backup, so that's pretty good still. What happens there is if we were able to pause, enter a menu, exit a menu, and unpause in a very tight window, it's like a second or two, then we would have skipped all of that dialogue to begin with, which saves, you know, upwards of 10 or more seconds. We didn't get it right away. You have to pause specifically on the cutscene trigger. And even if I had paused specifically on the cutscene trigger point, if I had not done the inputs fast enough, I would have soft locked the game. So it's a very finicky trick. But getting the backup still saves like 7 seconds, so it's still pretty good. Not too shabby at all. Yeah, because during that whole walk up from when we exit that room, there's every few seconds they stop with another text box of, oh, I hear voices. Oh, what is that sound? Blah, blah, blah. So we just skip all of those text boxes by doing the select glitch there. Alright, so this is a little bit of a lull in the run here. We have to go to another class, which is, of course, History of Magic. And all we have to do for this class is the professor is going to request that we go pick up a book from the library. And then we do so, and then we bring it back. It's not really noteworthy.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's not particularly exciting.
But what is exciting is if everyone whose favorite subject was history in school donated $5.
Yeah, that's great. Or if if for whatever reason you had a school that you studied history of magic, even better. Go ahead and donate some money for that. One thing I always love doing with marathons is I always love hearing, everyone seems to, has a pretty solid opinion of what their house would be if they were to be at Hogwarts and sorted into a house. Personally for me, and I'm not just saying it because I'm in the clothes, but I've always viewed myself as a Gryffindor, and anytime I've taken the quiz, I've gotten Gryffindor. But if in the donations you want to shout out a particular house or talk about why you think, you're in such and such a house or what have you, feel free. I always love to hear how people identify. So go for it. Let's get some Slytherin, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw representation here. Alright, one thing that is noteworthy is we are actually going to grab a Witches and Wizards card from the globe there, which will be important for a card combo we use in the final boss of the game. That's the only noteworthy thing there. And unfortunately, we go from slow segment into another slow segment, basically. So what we have to do here is we're going to re-investigate the scene on the wall that was written by whoever opened the Chamber of Secrets. And then we're going to go talk to Moaning Myrtle in the bathroom. However, Moaning Myrtle will not want to talk to us, so we have to figure out what we need to do in order to make Myrtle like us enough to talk to us. So we go from here to Hagrid, because Hagrid, of course, knows stuff about creatures. He knows how to make ghosts happy. He tells us, hey, if you give her a lily flower, specifically, ghosts love lilies, and then she'll talk to you. And she says, I think McGonagall loves lilies. So then we have to go from Hagrid's to McGonagall's office to steal a flower, and then back here. Just fetch quest into fetch quest, so not much you can do about it. And unfortunately, you can't skip the conversation with Hagrid and go right to McGonagall's office because the flower will not even spawn until after you talk to Hagrid. So,
woof.
Yep, again, they are rock solid in their story flags. They have glitches and exploits, but try skipping a quest. You can't do it. You just can't do it. Alright, so here's Hagrid. He's gonna talk to us about flowers and ghosts and all that. One thing that I always like to point out, because I just think it's kind of quirky and weird. So in most games, when you have text boxes like this, you're mashing through them with A, or A and B, maybe A and B both clear, like in Pokemon and stuff like that. A and B both clear the text box. However, if you mash with A in this game, for some reason, it's very slow. So you have to mash with B, or, weirdly enough, if you mash B and select, it actually will clear the text boxes. So most of the time, I'm mashing B and select to clear boxes, which is very odd to me, but you know, whatever. These games are quirky.
And we did get one of our donations. So CC has donated $5, saying shoutouts to History Class and to Hufflepuffs.
Ooh.
Great run so far, Conception. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the donation. We really appreciate that. It's very nice of you. So shout outs to Hufflepuffs and History Class. So let's see if we can get.
Yeah, CC's a nerd.
Yep, exactly. Well, we all are to some extent. I mean, I'm playing a video game fast on the internet, so.
Fair.
And it's.
I don't play video games fast on the internet. I play video games very, very slow by myself in a bedroom.
That's also perfectly acceptable, by the way. We still appreciate that. Yeah, so yeah, continue to get those donations in. You could talk about your favorite class, you could talk about your house, you can talk about whatever you want. Just get those donations in.
Yeah, it's for the kids.
Yes.
It's for the kids.
For the kids, St. Jude's, just a great charity. One little thing of note, I guess it wasn't, I could have just glossed over it and it wouldn't have been important, but when we went into McGonagall's office to grab the flower, we also grabbed a hidden antidote from her fireplace, which will again be used at the final boss should we need it. That's all. Nothing else of note there. For whatever reason, so we have to have a conversation with Ron and Hermione. They will only have the conversation in Gryffindor Tower, and then we immediately have to head back downstairs for another fetch quest. So, but then after that, we get some Quidditch, so it really picks up. Basically what's happening in the story right now is we think that Draco is almost certainly the heir to Slytherin and the person who opened the Chamber of Secrets. But we need to be sure, so we need to make a potion called the Polyjuice Potion, and we're going to turn into some people that Draco trusts in order to see if we can get him to admit to it. However, the potion recipe is in a book that is in the restricted section, and we can't just go into the restricted section without permission, so we kind of convinced Lockhart to give us a note so we can do that. And then now we just head right into the library. Easy as that.
Good old Professor Lockhart.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he just doesn't know what he's doing. No quid pro quo, no, hey, I'll do this, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine kind of deal. Nope, he's just like, alright, yeah, sounds good. You want to learn? Great. Here's a note that says you can go into the restricted section. And then that is just what we do. Alright, now we get to play some Quidditch right after this. So, that's fun. Worth bringing up here, so if you remember near-ish the beginning of the game, I activated that side quest where we have to retrieve that storybook for Katie who's in the hospital wing. And we're not going to progress it for a long while, and there's a specific reason for that. And it has to do with an NPC that just happened to walk on screen a minute ago, which his name is Colin Creevey. Colin Creevey is a big fan of Harry's, and he also likes to take photos. We need it, and I'm going to be a little bit spoilerish here. You know, it's a little bit of an old story, so I hope you kind of know about it by now. But we need it so that Colin Creevey is paralyzed before we advance the quest, and I'll talk a little bit about that when we progress the quest later on. But for now, we're in our third round of Quidditch, and this one actually, you can soft lock the game, and this one is the hardest Quidditch. And that is because we have the rogue bludger active that's trying to like purposely kill us, so there's a bludger that's constantly after us while we try to get the snitch, and of course it is just absolutely trolling me here. There we go, I got it. if for whatever reason you're somehow able to navigate in Quidditch without getting hit by any bludger during the rogue bludger match specifically, you'll soft lock the game. You won't be able to move on. I'm not exactly sure why that happens. So you notice at the beginning, I waited and I got hit by the bludger on purpose because it just falls straight down at the beginning. And then there's a little text box that pops up that says, hey, this bludger's after me, what's going on? So we just make sure we get hit by it at first before we go to catch the snitch for some marathon safety. There's Colin Creevy again, taking photos of us. Shoutouts to Dobby as well, who is just trying to keep us away from Hogwarts as much as possible for our own safety, but he's put us in the hospital and made us crash into trees and stuff like that. So, I mean, his heart's in the right place, but questionable actions, we'll say. So that was Colin paralyzed. Colin is paralyzed by something. We assume Colin is being attacked by the heir of Slytherin. And Colin is now paralyzed, which means that Colin can no longer take pictures, which is what is going to be important for later on. But for now, we have to head to potions class, not only to just progress the class, but we also need to grab potion ingredients for that Polyjuice potion. So we'll have a little, not mini game, but little like small sequence here where we just have to like go into Snape's potion stores without him knowing. Luckily, the distraction portion of this is orchestrated by the cutscene. It's not something that, you know, we have to perform well. But yeah, we throw this little, I assume it's like a firecracker of some sort. Snape is utterly distracted. And we just run into his potion stores. Potion ingredient stores, which is just a very long snaking hallway. And there's two shelves. There's one at the beginning and then there's one at the end. So that we have to grab two ingredients here, and they are on each, one is on each shelf. And we're just trying to do so while not hitting encounters if we can avoid it.
Somebody should donate $1 for every encounter you hit.
Oh my gosh. That would be a lot of encounters and a lot of dollars. So yeah, if someone wants to take that on, I'm not gonna complain. That's for sure. Alright, so we're finally at the end here. We grab that first ingredient, and then we just have to make our way down back to the beginning, and we'll grab our second ingredient before leaving out the door. One thing of note here, you'll notice that in a lot of areas, if I can, I'll hug the tops of walls like this, and it actually shrinks Harry's hitbox on encounters to just his feet, because the rest of Harry's body is technically in the wall. So that is just a way to avoid encounters. Alright, we got our ingredients, and then now we can exit. Alright, so if you remember way back when we fought the venomous Tentacula, that plant-like creature with Harry and Hermione, I talked about wanting to potentially die there so that our health would be low for a intentional death later on. And that intentional death is right here, which is in the dueling club. We're going to head over there now, and we're basically going to be dueling with Draco, which, of course, if you wanted to fight and win, you absolutely could. But if you lose, it provides the same effect. It doesn't change anything. So losing is definitely faster. And if we could have made it so Harry had 1 health, then he would have died in 1 shot. Now, the best that we can hope for now is that we die in 2 shots. However, Draco loves to miss for whatever reason. He has a low hit chance, I guess, and he misses a lot of spells. They did hit that one, but that is one of his lower damage spells, so hopefully he hits us with a high damage one here. He missed, of course. Proving my point, Draco, proving my point. Alright, right, so we got the 3-shot. But yeah, so if I had not, if Harry had fallen in that battle against the Tentacula, he would not have received the experience, so he wouldn't have leveled up. And his health would be at 1, because anytime you finish a battle with an ally passed out, they do come back in the next battle, but only with 1 health. So we would have had the 1 shot there, but we'll take 3 shots. That's, I guess, normal. We can, after this little cutscene, activate another instance of the select glitch, but if we miss it, it's not a big deal. It only saves 3 text boxes, so... I missed. Oh, wait. Can I recover it? Nope, I missed it again. Alright, that's fine. It's pixel perfect, like I said. But yeah, 1 text box, 2, 3. That's all it would have saved, so... It's like 2 or 3 seconds at most. And basically, this kid, Justin, who's a Hufflepuff, thinks that we set a snake on him, so he's afraid of us. Harry is doing that weird thing where you're trying to aggressively chase somebody down and tell them that you're not a bad person. It's not working out in his favor, but unfortunately for Justin, he was paralyzed right here. And Nearly Headless Nick was also taken out of commission as well. You can kind of see him, blends in with the ground a little bit there, but you can kind of see him. At this point, because it's too fortuitous, everyone's starting to think that Harry is the one that's paralyzing people. And not only that, we just discovered that Harry can talk to snakes, which is some real Voldemort-style stuff, so... We're not too happy with that. So we're getting sent to the principal's office, I mean the headmaster's office. Talk to Dumbledore here. And then we just have a little cutscene here. We see Fox the Phoenix. Say hi, Phoenix, and oof, rip to the Phoenix. F's in the chat for Fox. But like any good Phoenix, Fox rises from the ashes. So we're good. All right. So now we get into the Polyjuice Potion stuff here. We do have
man.
Yeah, it's the fun stuff. It's the fun stuff. So if you're familiar with the lore, what you need is the ingredients to brew the potion, of course, which we just got in potions. But the last thing you need is a bit of the person you're changing into, which Harry and Ron have the idea to change into Crabbe and Goyle, which are Malfoy's best friends. Hermione says she already got a hair from somebody named Millicent Bulstrode. And we need to get our hairs from Crabbe and Goyle. So what we're going to do is we're going to go find them. We're going to challenge them to a duel. And it again does not matter if we win or lose. So we're going to try to die as fast as possible. But this takes even longer because it is a 2v2 match. Oops, I forgot you can't take the shortcut. So that takes even longer, but we'll see if we get a little lucky. The absolute fastest you could get it in is 2 turns. It's more likely to be like 4 turns or 5 turns probably. And yeah, the reason why I tried to take that shortcut was because I know that they're on the bottom floor, and that shortcut takes you from floor 6 all the way to the dungeon. However, we can't go that way because, as you can see, Crabbe and Goyle are blocking the door to the dungeon, so it doesn't enable you to go into the dungeon right now. So we had to walk all the way down to floor 4, take the shortcut to floor 1, and then walk down. Alright, so here we are, back in this dueling room, and then we're just going to be continuously using the flee option while Crabbe and Goyle hopefully take us down fast. So not much of note here. If we happen to have any other like plugs or any more donations rolling in, that'd be great for time for that.
Donations, but again, we do still have one more incentive we are trying to meet. We have until the end of the next run to do so. That is for the Smart Ball Run It Back. We are at $15 out of $200 for that, so try to get those in for us. And then we do have 2 more polls left. One is for choosing the monkey for Super Monkey Ball, and the other is picking the new SpeedDocs video. So go ahead and get those donations in towards those if you want to see all of that happen.
Absolutely, and I know you all can do it. I had a run roughly 10 hours ago, well, probably 11 hours now, at around 4 in the morning. And at that point, my cosplay incentive still had like $200 and something to go. And here I am, dressed in Harry Potter garb for y'all. So I know you can meet those incentives. Let's get those donations in. All right, so that was a bit slow, though it could have been worse. We more got unlucky with the spells that they chose because they chose to do some lower damage spells, but we did have one miss on Ron as well, so he extended it by an extra turn. But we knocked them out, we got a hair from their heads, and now we can do the potion. And just listen for these beautiful sound effects here coming up. Hold on. One of the only, like, I guess, voice lines, as you could say, in the run there, which is, of course, Hermione thinks that she has a hair from a human, but she has a hair from a cat, so she ends up turning into a cat, making her useless there. Now, we wanted to get the select glitch. We had a few doorways to get it, but fortunately for me, I got the select glitch on the first door. And that actually skips a very lengthy cutscene that would occur right here with Snape. And it saves about 20 seconds by skipping it or so. So luckily we were able to walk right by that. But we do have to drop the select glitch and then walk in here and talk to Malfoy, or else we can't progress the story, so... But yeah, I've been pretty lucky with all the select glitches. The only glitch that has failed so far is the initial voice to skip. But we did get the backup with the select glitch after that anyway, so it really wasn't that bad. The glitches have been going pretty well. But yep, we got the information we needed, and it's Harry as Goyle here moves very strangely for whatever reason. Like, when you use a direction, he'll just jut over to the side a little bit. Like, you can kind of see there. Hold on, let me see if I can do it again. Yeah, see, like, I move left, but then he juts a little bit back to the right to, like, fight me on it. It's very strange. It's like he's, like, phasing in and out of existence. Come on, Goyle, you can do it. There we go. So that's the end there. Now we get to turn back into ourselves. And Hermione doing her best cat impression. It's gonna get cured decently quickly here. So we don't get to hear those awesome meow sounds anymore, but that's alright. Alright, so now we're really into the depths of the run here, because we're gonna have basically 3 bosses that can all ruin the run to varying degrees. The first one is not too threatening. It's definitely the least threatening. And then they get kind of progressively worse. But for whatever reason, there's this little Valentine's Day sequence. And it literally does nothing. Like, it is literally just in here to showcase a cutscene and that they decorated the tables, I think. Because it does not do anything else to progress the story at all. I'm not really sure why it was included. Alright, so then we have to go back up to Gryffindor Tower and back down. We are going to shop at some point. I'm not going to shop now, but we are going to shop at some point in order to pick up some extra potions for the end game, but we're not going to do it quite yet. And all the way back, we talked about that quest, that side quest I started. We're actually going to progress it a little bit here by talking to this NPC. Because if you remember, Katie told us that the book was on a table in the Gryffindor common room. we don't see it there, so we talked to that individual who told us, oh, I think Ginny Weasley has the book. So now we need to talk to Ginny next. But we're not done with that side quest yet, so we're just going to leave it for now. And now we have a long cutscene where Harry talks to the diary he found in the bathroom, and we kind of see something play out where we think Hagrid is the person who opened the Chamber of Secrets, and he has this monster. For whatever reason, both Tom Riddle and Hagrid had a little visual glitch there. I don't really know why, but that was interesting. Half of their heads were missing. Alright, so that ends that. We're being told we're to go down for Quidditch yet again. But we are going to have a little cutscene where Hermione thinks that she's onto something in terms of the Chamber of Secrets, and she needs to go do some research. And Harry and Ron were like, oh, well, okay, well, let's go to Quidditch. So now we're going to go to Quidditch. We just have to walk down, so not much to be said. We are going to get to take the shortcut from the 6th floor to the dungeon, so that makes that walk down quite a bit faster. Oh my gosh, sniped again.
How many dollars is that now for the brave person?
It's at least, if we're doing $1 each, it's at least 5, and that's a heavy amount. That's way more than I'm used to. So we're just getting really unlucky. If the spawn patterns are okay, you can pretty much get away with not hitting any random encounters in the whole run. But I'm getting quite unlucky. Alright, so we're going to talk to Oliver Wood here, but unfortunately, if you're wanting to see a little bit more Quidditch, not today, champ. And that is because Quidditch is canceled because we had yet another victim of paralyzation, which this time is Hermione, so F's in the chat for Hermione. We just need to make our way back up to Gryffindor Tower now, as we are all under like a curfew, because we're all afraid that, you know, we're all going to get paralyzed and whatnot. Alright, so we're going to make our way up, and this is where I'm going to shop, actually. So I'm going to buy some Grand Wiggenweld potions, just to buffer for the end fight a little bit, just to make it a little bit safer. We had a decent amount of money left, so we were able to buy 5, which is actually really good, so I'm happy about that.
It's all those extra encounters.
Yeah, exactly. All that extra discovery. It had its benefits. But, yeah, we just talked to McGonagall here, and she informs us that we are not to leave the dorm at any point. And what does Harry and Ron do? We decided we're going to leave the dorm, so we're going to run back here and grab the invisibility cloak. And we need to go talk to Hagrid to figure out what's going on with this Chamber of Secrets business. And it's at this point that we're gonna get ready to progress the story even further. So I'll dive into a little bit about what we did with that side quest. So we needed to find the magic storybook for Katie, who she said left it on in the Gryffindor Tower. When we talked to the NPC, he said that the last person who had it was Ginny. We're gonna run into Ginny right here, which is a little unusual because it's after hours during a lockdown, so I don't know why Ginny is out here. Weird. Anyway, Ginny gives us the book. Now, this side quest is meant to be extended a little bit because usually what will happen is Ginny will ask, okay, I'll give you the book, but you have to give me a photo of yourself. And we say, what is meant to happen is like, okay, then we go find Colin Creevey, who takes a photo of us, and then we give the photo to Ginny, who gives us the book. However, if you remember, Colin is now petrified, so we cannot talk to Colin anymore. Therefore, the game chooses to say, okay, we have to skip that part of the quest. Just give Harry the book. So it's actually a little bit faster to wait to progress the quest until after Colin is petrified. Alright, now we go talk to Hagrid here. Hagrid insists that he didn't do any of this. We have to hide under the cloak while Dumbledore and the Minister of Magic, Cornelius Fudge, and I think Lucius Malfoy also pops in too. Can't remember. Yes, he does. There he is. So he pops in. They take Hagrid away to Azkaban because they are almost certain that he's guilty. So F's in the chat for Hagrid as well. But we believe Hagrid because Hagrid is our friend, so we got to do some more investigation. And he also told us to follow the spiders, so we're gonna quote-unquote listen to him. We are gonna follow the spiders into the Forbidden Forest, but following the spiders exactly is not fastest because they take us on some loop-de-loops. For example, we're not gonna follow them all the way around that path. We're just gonna head right to the end. That's faster. So, and here we are in the Forbidden Forest. Oh. Unlucky. So I was able to pause away an encounter, but then they put the encounter basically exactly in the same spot, and then I walked right into it. So, unfortunate.
$1.
Yep, another $1. As you can see here, we are taking the fastest route, which oftentimes is not following the spiders. So that's interesting. But they all lead to the same spot. This one I could have avoided, and I missed the pause, so that one's on me. Okay, so we're in a little bit of a predicament here because both Ron and Harry have been hit to less than 80 HP, I believe. So I'm gonna pause to save here anyway, but let me check their status real quick. So Harry is fine. We don't need to heal Harry, so that's good. We do need to use a potion on Ron, and then we're gonna save here. That is because we're about to enter one of 3 boss fights that are at the end of this game, which this one is against Aragog. The reason why we need to be above 80 HP at least is because when Aragog hits us, he does 80 HP. And he unfortunately uses a stun attack on turn 1 every time, no matter what. So we can't avoid being hit most of the time. So we want to be able to make sure that Harry and Ron could at least survive 1 hit each. So there's the 80. And that's fine. We're going to flee here and enemy attack skip because for whatever reason, when you are hit out of a stun, you still have to wait until your turn is over for you to have a turn. And we're going to do something very interesting here. I'm going to focus on it and then I'll tell you about it. That was my fault. Oops, I dropped it. So I probably have to reset here. We'll see. We can actually be fine here. Oh. If he hits Ron, we have to reset. Yeah, we have to reset. Okay, that's fine. That was entirely my fault. I dropped the chain. So what's happening there is we're actually... So if you recall, we use a glitch a lot in this game called the enemy attack skip, which is basically where we continuously skip the enemy's turn and go right to our turn. What we're doing there is we used a poison spell on the first turn, Mucus ad nauseum, and what that does is it does poison damage every turn, similar to that in Pokemon. Kind of does a little bit of chip damage. What we do then is we chain a series of enemy attack skips together back to back to back, and whenever we perform that enemy attack skip, it still takes away the poison chip damage. So we just continuously skip Aragog's turn while it takes damage every turn, and we just do that until it's dead, because we don't really have a shot of fighting Aragog 1v1, because as you can see, he does a massive amount of damage and we are underleveled, so it becomes a bit of a problem.
Spiders.
Why did it have to be spiders? Why couldn't it be follow the butterflies?
It does look like, however, we got a few donations in.
Please.
Alright, I got 2 donations. Both are from Anonymous and both are for $65.
Wow.
So that's a decent amount there. And the comment, one had no comment, so thank you for that. The other is, I'm so proud to have been a part of this community for the entirety of the event. Really looking forward to the last few runs of the day, DKC2 especially in particular.
Thank you so much for that
generosity. Thank you so much for those donations.
Yeah, that was amazing generosity. Thank you so much.
But that did both go to the Smart Ball incentive, so we are at 145 of 200. So we only need $55 more to meet that, guys. That's just 11 people in the chat donating $5, and there's 226 of you. Or out of the 226 of you, 55 of you just need to donate $1. You can do it.
All right, finally we got through that. Got a little trolled there, but that's fine. We made it out alive. Aragog is defeated. No problem. But yes, thank you so much. Keep those donations coming. I love that they're rolling in. Thank you so much for all of your all's generosity. So all we got to do here is escape, hopefully without hitting a bunch of encounters. But it is really difficult because these are very narrow passageways. So there's not a lot of room for enemies to spawn, so almost always spawn in our way. So hopefully we don't have to deal with it too much. They can't.
I like how the death animation for the big spider was just his his like little like bits just flying off.
Yeah, his fangs just run away. It's very odd. I don't really know why. But that's how he dies. I don't know. That's how it works. So yeah, what we did there is we just chained enemy attack skips together combined with poison chip damage in order to defeat it without getting hit. And we're going to repeat this exact process with our next boss. But the whole time that I do it, I'm going to be very quiet because activating the enemy attack skip glitch once or twice in a row is fine. It's pretty easy. But when you have to chain them together a bunch in a row like that, it's very easy to drop. And with Aragog, it's not so bad to drop it because most of the time you can just continue and flee again. So it's not a big deal. But with this next boss, they will get a chance to attack if I drop it, and I do not want to drop it at all if I can. So I'm gonna save before for safety, of course, but I'm gonna also just really focus and be quiet at that point so I can hit it without having a problem. To give it a number, I think I have this right, you have to chain 37 enemy attack skips together in a row without missing one. So I'll see if I'm able to do it. We are in the hospital wing here to see Hermione, but if we pause and unpause there, we can see Katie and finally finish that storybook quest. And she gives us the spell Petrificus Totalis, which is very important for this fight and this fight alone. Which is going to be against Lockhart here. We go to Lockhart so he can help us, but Lockhart's going to run away because he's a secret coward. So we're going to fight him for that. We're going to use Ron's Ratnip attack, the only time we use it in the run, which stuns for 1 turn, and it does a flat 20 damage, so that's pretty good. And we're going to take that opportunity to cast Poison on Lockhart, and then now we're going to flee, and I'm going to focus. We did it. Hey. Very good. Like I said, that is a lot more difficult than it looks. We have to chain together a lot of enemy attack skips right in a row. So, but we were able to do it. Lockhart is a real pain. So, if we were to fall off a chain there, we could recover once maybe, but it's very difficult. So I'm glad we got by that. Lockhart feels like the real final boss of the run to me. So. Sorry, just fixing my splits there. Sorry for the desktop noise. That's the last one, I promise. Alright, so now we head down exactly into the Chamber of Secrets, and we have one more fight to do, which is going to be against the Air's Beast, the Basilisk. The Basilisk fight is entirely RNG. We could actually just get crit on turn 1 and die instantly. So we're going to hope that doesn't happen, of course. But yeah, it's just very RNG. And we are definitely going to save before it, and that is exactly why we grab a whole bunch of potions to kind of counteract a lot of different things. But most importantly here, so we're going to head in here. There is a little maze section that we still got to navigate through. And we're going to grab one last Witches and Wizards card here. So if you remember, all the way back at the beginning of the game in Diagon Alley, I grabbed a card combo just outside the bookstore. And that card combo is a card combo that's called Weak Point. And what Weak Point does is it makes when you use it in battle, it makes an enemy super vulnerable to damage, so it multiplies your damage done. And we're going to use that on the Basilisk here. And you're going to see, though we are alone currently, we're going to have a special companion with us. Alright, so we're going to save there. Unfortunately, if we do die, we do have to go through all of this dialogue again, but hopefully we don't die, so we don't have to deal with it. This fight is very unique. So like I said, we're going to have a companion here, which, spoiler alert, a little in advance, is going to be Fox the Phoenix. He's going to be with us. Now, Fox has 300 HP, and his defense is pretty high, so he can take quite a few hits. However, we cannot heal Fox at all, so if Fox goes down really quick, we're in big trouble. And the reason why we're in big trouble is that Harry cannot cast spells in this fight. He is given the Sword of Gryffindor. So the only way that Harry can do damage by himself to the Basilisk is by using the sword. However, when we use the Weak Point card combo in combination with Fox's attacks, Fox does like 100 damage, and the Basilisk has like 750 health. So it goes pretty well. Now we can't use it yet on that first turn because we got hit. We have to wait for a turn that Harry doesn't take damage, which is now, so that's good. Oops, went down, one down too many. And now we're gonna use Weak Point. Because if we can only survive 2 hits from the Basilisk, so if we had not healed on that first hit, we would have died the next hit. So now we get to use Weak Point. You saw Fox did like 20 damage the first turn, now he does 93, so that's how much of an improvement that is. Don't miss, Fox, come on. And we got poison there, which is fine because we picked up 2 antidotes during the fight. So you're getting to see it all. A Fox crit is so unlikely, so I'm really glad you got to see one. That's really good. That's excellent. So, awesome. A Fox crit is so rare. Okay, so Fox is poison now, which we can't, like I said, we cannot heal with potions, Fox. But if we use the healing bomb, it does also work on... Oh, wow. Okay. Game froze. I've never seen that happen before. If we do use the healing bomb on Fox there, it will heal his poison and it will give Fox 10 HP back per turn. So that's good. I have never had that game freeze there. That was unusual. Luckily, I'm so glad I saved. But unfortunately, we do have to talk through all this garbage again. But hey, you got to see a Fox crit, which is rare, so that's awesome.
Hey, man. It's because you didn't buy the DLC.
Yeah. You know, the legendary Game Boy Color cartridge DLC. Yeah, they just kind of sent it to you in the mail. Yeah, I really hope they patch this game. All right, so we get to do some of this fight again. Of course, if we have any other donations or plugs, now's a great time for it, because we're just doing the same stuff we were already doing.
We got another $10 donation in from Young Sunfish, saying there are some dollars for all the encounters that Conception ran into.
Thank you, Young. I appreciate that. Young also runs some of these handheld Harry Potter games, so he knows my pain. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So we do only have $45 left for that last incentive. If y'all want to try to get it in, we are also at $33.58 of that new goal of 3,500 that we set. And if we can reach that 3,500 goal, I am going to teach CJ how to play a rhythm game live on the SpeedDocs Twitch, like in a week or two.
All right, I have to see
Whatever
that.
CJ wants to. Whatever CJ's ready.
I have to see that, so please get those donations in. We got some of the most unfortunate luck I have ever seen, which is that Fox missed 3 times in a row. So that's really unfortunate. However, the Basilisk keeps focusing on Harry here, which is not a big deal. So, because we have all these potions, please don't crash the game again. But when I use this, I've never seen that before, so I'm gonna hope it doesn't do it again. All right, we made it through that time, so that's good. Alright, we actually got to try to use the sword there, but we got another miss. I've never seen this many misses in this fight. I can't believe I'm getting trolled so hard. Come on. There's another hit. Good. The sword missing, I'm used to. For whatever reason, the sword just misses a ton. I don't know why. I don't know if it has like a very low hit percentage or something, but it misses a ton. So the sword missing, I'm used to. Fox missing so much, I don't like to see. Because Fox is a real damage dealer here. Alright, we're about done with this fight. Time does not end after this fight. We do have a few more cutscene sequences here, so we just have to get through. Alright, looks like we'll barely make estimate. And this was, you know, whenever you submit for a marathon, they say, when you submit your estimate, make it so it's like a worst case scenario run, where everything that could possibly go wrong does go wrong. And if you save time, you save time. That's great. This was almost the worst case scenario run. Like, very, very close. It's almost 10 minutes higher than my my PB, which is saying something. But it was all in RNG. Like, there was not very much that I could have controlled there that I messed up, so... That's Harry Potter games for you. They just are RNG heavy machines. But while this cutscene plays out, I'll just do my shoutouts now so we can get moving to the next run. Just wanted to shout out the Harry Potter speedrunning community, especially the handheld speedrunning community. They're such a friendly group. They provide you with resources. If you're interested in running any Harry Potter game or any handheld Harry Potter game specifically, just visit our speedrun.com page. So for this game, it's speedrun.com/HP2GBC. And then to the left of the leaderboard there, you will find a Discord section, and you can join, and we'll happily get you started with any resources you need. I also just wanted to shout out all of the crew and everyone behind SpeedDocsAThon. It's been such a great event so far, and they've been so kind to me and supportive, and I can't thank you all enough for having me on here. Thank you, of course, to NASA Marathon for hosting SpeedDocsAThon on the channel as well, and all of the crew and tech that goes behind everything. You are the unsung heroes, so thank you so much for everything. And time. Sorry, that was a little sudden. But that is time. And that was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets for Game Boy Color. Follow me on Twitch. My name is Conception2, so twitch.tv/Conception2. If you want to see more runs like this or just have any questions, I'm happy to help.
All right. right, thanks so much for the run, Conception. Is there anything else you want to say about it before we go?
No, I think I got it all out in the cutscene, so thank you for